edition of our newest series called Slaying in the Kitchen. It's with the Sugar-Coated Murder Girls, and our first slayer up is our beautiful friend from the UK. His name is Lyndon, and his podcast is Murder at Bedtime with Lyndon. We hope that you will give him the love and the support that you show us all the time, and sit back, relax, and enjoy this little experiment. Thanks, guys.
Yay! Yay! Here we go.
All right.
There we go. Right, for a start, which one's which?
Okay, I'm Karen.
I'm Ann.
Ah, that's good. I'm Lyndon, your biggest fan.
Oh, thank you, Lyndon.
You see, you've got the T-shirts on as well.
They're our aprons.
Oh, no, I've got mine on, look.
Nice.
I can't afford to have a Murder at Bedtime, though. It's too many letters.
So tell us, you have a great podcast that we love, but I got to tell you, I can't go to sleep right after I listen to your podcast.
Too grisly.
I love your voice. It's so soothing, but at the same time, the stories like the ones that we cover are a little unsettling. We so enjoy listening to you. We love your voice. We love your storytelling abilities. And, of course, we adore your accent.
Oh, that's nice. Well, yeah. I like your homely feel to it all. I feel so comfortable on a Monday morning when I don't really want anything too horrible. You know, I want something light and entertaining and funny, and hear you two laugh and that. And I think, wow, Monday morning, whatever time, whenever you put your podcast out, Monday mornings for me.
Oh, that's wonderful. We're so glad. We're glad to have a listener across in the UK. It's such an honor for us. We love it.
Oh, that's good. I'm sure you've got plenty in the UK. I'm always plugging you.
Well, none that we've never met.
Ah, I know.
Right.
Well, is this the very first Slayer in the Kitchen
yes.
one then?
Absolutely.
Now, I had a little bet with some of the guys at work on yesterday, and said, how many blokes do you think you'll actually get doing this?
I think we'll get a lot.
Do you?
I do. I really do. I think it's a challenge. And I
Absolutely.
think that they know, I mean, if anybody's ever listened to us, we don't take ourselves seriously. We certainly don't take anything else in life seriously.
No, that's the way to be.
So we're not trying to be Martha Stewart in the kitchen.
No.
So I think that's the beauty of it, is that to see if the recipe is going to live or die. Brilliant.
And we've not been professionally trained. So
well, you're going to be a lot more professionally trained than I am. I'm a single man, lives on my own. How many baking utensils do you think I've got? Not many.
Slaying it in the kitchen is to find things that you can use instead of the expensive gadgets.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Have you got all your ingredients ready?
I've got it. Well, I've got the first bit all in the bowl, apart from the butter. The second bit, I've got my bits here ready to put in there, ready for the second bit.
All right.
I had to find out what a stick of butter was. Apparently, a stick of butter is 4 ounces, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it is.
Because I'd got no idea what a stick of butter was. I think it's half of what I've had it in the freezer.
That's
so
crazy.
125. That's about right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I cut that in half.
Yep.
Break it into a few pieces. Stick it in this already weighed out sugar, flour, and baking powder. Sorry?
Do you know what a cheese grater is? Do you have a cheese grater?
I have a cheese grater, yes.
Okay, so you're going to actually take that 4 ounces of butter and grate it with a cheese grater into this, right?
Okay. Have we started yet?
Okay.
Have we started?
Yeah. You ready?
What's it thing? We've actually started.
We're doing it. We're slaying it.
We're slaying it right now, Lyndon.
Hang on while I get me grater. Okay. As you can imagine, I don't grate cheese very often. But I'll tell you what, though, you didn't half give me a crime to look up, didn't you? That is crazy.
the happy face killer.
Unbelievable.
I know. So while you all are grating your butter, let me just go over a couple of things about Keith Jesperson for anybody that's listening that doesn't really know him. He's a serial killer that had 8 victims, and nobody was really tracking him until he murdered his last victim, which was actually his girlfriend. And then when they brought him in for questioning, he sang like a canary and confessed to all these other killings. And they finally put it together because when he was writing letters to the media, he signed it all the time with the happy face. And then that's how they kind of figured out that he was the serial killer or this killer that they were looking for. So a few things that I will say about him as I read through. Here's some of my impressions. He's a big guy. He's 6'6" and 240 pounds. So he's big. He's a big fella.
He was a big unit.
Yes, and he. Some people called him Baby Huey, which I guess was a cartoon character at some point, but it was a label they gave him because of this big size. And then the things that really, you always hear about the horrible childhoods and everything of the serial killers, and this is what made them serial killers, and that's all fine and well, that's psychology, but I think that's a lot of noise because there are a lot of people that don't have great childhoods that don't serial kill.
Exactly.
So, but I will say that I think it's kind of funny that he had low self-esteem. I personally think that he had very sloppy, happy faces. I just feel like he could have tightened it up a little bit because his happy face was just sloppy. It looked like a kid drew it. So now he sells art in prison, which I think is funny because he can't even draw a good happy face. So and who's buying his art for $200 and he can't even put a good happy face together? Like there was no detail. So, I'm just calling him out on the fact that he does not have a good happy face. He's the happy face killer. It should have had a little bit more detail.
So, Lyndon, just out of curiosity, to the prisoners there in the UK, are they allowed to sell their art to make money?
What, the prisoners?
Yes.
Yeah, the Craigs twins sold Reggie sold a lot of art.
Wow.
And that money goes to them personally.
Yeah, it goes to them. It did. They're both dead now. But I presume, it still goes to their estate.
Wow.
Which is owned which I presume is owned by one of the wives.
Right.
They are a brand, the Craigs, So, but I know they're allowed to sell their stuff. Not like, in America, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't this guy sell T-shirts from prison with his happy face on?
Yeah. He did. Yeah. And he also sells, his art is $200 for a piece of art.
Wow.
Like, who's paying that? And then he also has an account where you can just send him cash and it goes right into his commissary at the prison so he can buy his food and whatever else that he buys at prison. So I don't know who's doing it, but I wish they would stop. If they want some art, I'll give them art and then they can send the money to the victims.
There you go.
Yeah, some of this art is rubbish though, isn't it? Look at all that stuff that John Wayne Gacy did.
How creepy. He did all clowns. Like, hello. Like, it's so creepy.
Because there's a guy on my Instagram. I don't know if he's on your Instagram. He's on my Instagram that sells all this stuff like Ted Bundy's hair, from Ted Bundy.
No.
Yes, I have seen him. He sells letters and things like that too. It's so gross. And letters and just all sorts of memorabilia that he sells. He's a dealer of serial killer memorabilia.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So and there are a couple of, I've listened to a couple of podcasters that write to a lot of these serial killers because there's a program that you can write to prisoners and they write to some of these people. Like I listened to one and they actually wrote to Keith Jesperson and just was asking him if there was anything he wanted to tell them or any details. And of course, the first thing he said is, yes, if you want to send me $200, I'll send you some art. But, he was talking about some of the other famous prisoners and serial killers that he's friends with in prison. And it gave me chills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like that.
A whole community of them.
Yeah. But I can't even imagine writing to one. I don't know. I don't know if I could write to a serial killer.
I have no desire.
No, I don't think so.
I don't need to know anything about them.
I feel like we've known everything there is to know.
As long as they're in jail. I don't need to know anything else.
Yeah. I mean, the one that always really gets me is Ted Bundy.
Oh gosh, yes.
Why is everybody so obsessed with this guy?
I think that he's gotten more famous for his charisma and his good looks, and I just think it's gross. I think it's gross, and I don't like it. I don't like that he's promoted in the media in different movies and stuff. It's this sexy, charismatic guy. He's evil incarnate. I don't care what he looks like.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely evil, wasn't he?
Oh, are you blending your butter now?
I've grated the butter. I'm now mixed it with my hands.
Beautiful.
Oh, okay.
That's wonderful. Y'all are doing exactly the same thing.
Anyway, about this case, I thought it was interesting that they weren't able to put any of the pieces together to catch him. They had no idea. He was writing on bathroom walls, leaving messages and stuff. And it wasn't, he was very smart about it, because one woman, he actually raped and killed her and tied her to the bottom of his truck.
Yes.
And to erase fingerprints
and her face. He brings her face.
Yeah.
Like, that's so gross. One of his last victims that he did that to.
He drove for 12 miles. For 12 miles with her strapped to the underside of the lorry.
Can you imagine?
And then he got underneath and had a look and thought, yeah, that's pretty good. I've got rid of all
I think I've got it.
Yeah, he probably went over there and admired his work.
No, we were talking about his childhood to start off with. I mean, his father was evil, wasn't he?
His father was horrible. I mean, and I guess his grandfather was really mean too. So it seems to run in their family. They should stop having male children. Because I feel like all the men in his lineage were very angry.
Why? What? Because they had 5. They had 5 kids, didn't they? Les and Gladys.
Yeah.
I like that name, Gladys. I'll tell you, I've just got to give this a mention. He was born in Chilliwack, and I just wanted to say that. Chilliwack in British Columbia. All day I've wanted to say Chilliwack.
Yeah, that's probably the best part of the whole story, is that he was born in Chilliwack.
Yeah, he was born in Chilliwack, and all day I thought I must get Chilliwack in somewhere. But yeah, I wanted to know why. I mean, I know he was a big lad. When he was 14, he was 6 foot tall, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But why? He had 5 kids. Gladys and Les had 5 kids. Why did Les hate Keith so much?
I don't know, and it never has come. It's never really been talked about, so I don't really know why he hated him. He was pretty much shunned and ostracized. Like it was either being really mean to him or completely ignoring him. There was no in between.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I don't know. And what was Gladys's problem? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you've got a husband that's being really mean to your kid, I mean, a frying pan to the back of the head takes care of that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the mum was doing, because, I mean, he was terrible. I mean, I know you can't excuse what he got up to, but his childhood was terrible.
But you would think that what he would do was then kill men and not kill women.
Yeah.
That's the thing that doesn't make the connection for me. So
I mean,
that's where I say, well, I mean, I hate it that he had a bad childhood, but is that just an excuse? Because then he went off and brutalized women. Although they did say early on in his childhood, he did try to drown a boy at the pool.
Sorry, that's not funny.
It's not funny.
It really is not. But
he
was a sick individual, and it just is a shame that it never popped up on anybody's radar that we got a mental issue going.
And the other thing is he was not very, I don't think that he was very successful, because if you're a serial killer and you got to start writing to the paper to get attention and writing stuff on the bathroom walls, you're not a very good serial killer.
No.
Like, I don't think that he was very successful.
Well,
I think he was a bit miffed, wasn't he, after his first murder?
The 2 people actually.
And what in the world? Talk about a plan that went really wrong for that lady.
I know. I mean, poor Laverne, she's just trying to get out of a really abusive relationship and thinks she's going to sell her boyfriend down the river, and she gets put on the river too.
I think there's better ways of doing it. When you first gave me the case, I went straight up and watched a documentary.
Okay.
And it said the happy face killer. For the first half hour, I thought I'd got the wrong person because it was all about this woman. And it told you that this woman's been murdered, and this woman had said that her boyfriend did it. And then she said she went to the site when he called so that she could help him get rid of her. Then she said she actually helped him murder her.
Yes, she said I actually helped him murder her and helped get rid of the body. So they said, okay, well then you're going to jail too. And she was like, that's not my plan.
Didn't you think that it was honestly, I couldn't get my head around it because, first of all, how did she know where the body had been found? She took the police to where the body had been found. Because
there was actually media coverage about a body being found, and she read about it, and she figured it out. She was a true crime documentary freak like the rest of us, except we use ours for good, not for evil.
All right, Lyndon, we're moving on to our wet ingredients.
Okay, I've put my egg in. Now it's the cream, innit? Half a cup of cream, yeah?
You do the cream, the vanilla, and an egg.
Yeah.
And whisk those together.
Did you put them in a separate bowl?
Yeah. And I've got a whisk of that, haven't I?
Well, if you don't have a whisk, use a fork.
Brilliant. Well, the other thing that confused me about Laverne.
Oh, yeah. What was her name?
Parviak, is it? Parviak?
I think so. I just wrote her name down as Laverne because I really like that name too, Laverne. When she cut the random button part out of the jeans, and gave it to the police had the original jeans. So I mean, how on earth did they? It didn't make sense to me because you could see right from the start in my eyes they didn't do it. I know. Well, it's obvious to us. I don't know what the police were doing. They weren't paying attention.
No.
As a matter of fact, they weren't paying attention to the point that Keith had to keep writing to the newspaper to say, hey, dudes, I killed another one. He must have been thinking, who is in charge of the police?
He was a very complicated man because he was very upset that he wasn't getting the credit for the murders, but he didn't want to get caught either.
I know. But here's the crazy thing. When you read some of his notes, he was a very good writer, and I think he missed his calling. He could have written true crime novels, and it would have been like one of the last notes that he wrote at the end. He said, look over your shoulder. I'm closer than you think, which is so chilling. And I thought, oh, my God, you should have been a crime novelist. And he wouldn't have to be selling art for $200 in a prison.
And he wouldn't have had to kill people. He could have
written about killing people.
Absolutely.
As long as he didn't draw a happy face in his book, because I got to tell you, the guy is really sloppy when it comes to a happy face. Like it looks like a second grader did it. Maybe his kids did it. I don't know. That's the other things. I feel horrible for his children because they really, they were raised by a whole different man than this monster.
Well, but not really, because his daughter did several interviews and she actually went back and retraced some of the steps and met with some of the victims' relatives. And some of the stories she told, for instance, the first time she saw her dad's menacing behavior, they had some kittens that turned up on their property.
Yes.
And he told her a story of when he was young. His father said he used to drown kittens in a bag in the pond, in the lake.
Oh, God.
River. And his daughter said, it was very unsettling for him to say this. And he started hanging the kittens up on the clothesline
and beating them to death
by their tails and their back. And she ran in to get her mom. And when she came out, all the kittens were dead.
Yeah. So how traumatizing.
And then he would talk about having sexual relations with their mother to them in explicit detail. So there was a very warped part of him that the children did see.
She did see it, but I think at the time it was her normal.
It was her normal.
And she saw him as a loving dad.
Yeah, and she was horrified when she realized the truck that she would get into to go on rides with him was the same truck where he was murdering these women.
And dragging their bodies.
Exactly.
And I think about the first victim that he started with, this Tanya Bennett.
Yes.
So I was listening to, but they were talking about how her family described her as a little bit slow, intellectually slow. Mm-hmm. And I think she was a really easy victim. And I think he truly hunted her on a very personal level because he was at the same bar. He knew she was drinking. He knew she was inebriated, and he just continued to watch her. But then when he got her home and after he coaxed her into having sex, and then afterwards he started insulting her.
Right.
Like,
so mean.
That is really rude. I mean, he started like calling her ugly names and making fun of the way she looked. Like, who does that? That's so nasty. That's so mean. That's a mean person.
He was. He very, very mean. I mean, he just got infuriated. I mean,
yeah, and he would go into this rage. And so I think that for him, that taunting to me is such a whole nother psychological level for me. And I feel like he was working himself up so she would fight with him and he could get enraged enough to kill her because he said, I wanted to know what it felt like to kill somebody. So, and that's kind of, how that was his plan for her from the moment he saw her in that bar, which I think is so sad. But it just, to me, there's this whole nother level of psychological stalking and evilness to him that he could go and intimately be in her presence. It's not like she's walking through a parking lot and it's a crime of opportunity and I'm going to stalk her and follow her home. He's having conversations with this person at the bar, knowing full well the whole time what his plan was.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's really creepy. And I feel really bad that she picked the wrong guy to go home with.
When he walked into the bar, she gave him a big hug. But apparently the barmaid said to him, she does that to everybody. So he actually went home, I think, and he couldn't get her out of his mind. So he wanted to make her into his sex slave. He actually wanted to keep her. He went back hoping to catch her, but she was just coming out. And he took her home he said he was going to buy her a meal and everything.
Which I think is even worse when you offer somebody dinner and then you never buy them dinner, but instead you kill them. I think that is a whole level of rudeness. She's thinking she's getting steak and a baked potato, and she gets killed. It's a horrible ending.
It was very clever. I mean, he actually went out to the garage and had new lights put in his brakes and filled up with gas because he knew he was going to go and put a body from his house in his trunk. It's the boot here. It's the trunk, isn't it?
Yes.
And he didn't want to get stopped by the police. So he knew exactly what he was doing.
He was so methodical and yet could not. I still can't get over how he's so detail-oriented and cannot connect the circle on a happy face.
Where are we with the scone at the minute?
So you should have a nice mixture that you're going to turn out onto a little floured surface. This is what my dough looks like now.
I'm all right. I didn't get any blueberries, so I'm in the game. So I've got my ball. Is that what it's supposed to look like?
Yes. Look, Ian. This is a ball.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
That's beautiful.
That's the ball. Right.
So you're going to wrap that ball in plastic wrap or parchment or whatever you have.
Yeah.
And then we've got to put it in the refrigerator or freezer for 20 minutes.
Right.
Oh, wait. I have a piece of parchment.
Okay.
Grab that.
Okay.
Oh, bring the circle back out. Sorry, Lyndon. Bring your dough back out.
Okay. Right. It's out again.
Okay. You're actually going to pat it down a little bit so it's in a circle.
Okay.
And then you're going to take a sharp knife.
And if it's sticky, put a little flour on your hands if it gets to be too sticky, because the flour won't hurt it.
Is it staying in the plastic or not?
No, take it out of the plastic.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Do I slice it now?
Now you're going to slice it into 8 wedges.
So it looks like a pizza.
Yeah. Okay, I've done that.
All right. Will it fit in your freezer just like that, flat, uncovered?
Uncovered it in the freezer. Yeah, I'll do that.
All right.
So I thought it was, and while you're doing that, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the lady that survived his attack in April of 1990, which I think she was just the second victim. So Tanya Bennett was in January, and this lady is in April. And so...
Oh, the second victim? I thought she said the survivor.
She is a survivor.
I thought there was only one survivor.
Well, this lady is the survivor.
This is the lady at Shasta, isn't it?
She's the lady that
from
worked
the
at the liquor store in the parking lot with the baby.
Yeah, that's
her name.
the baby. That's the one that had the baby with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daun, I think it was.
It seems like the baby saved her life.
Yeah.
Because the baby wouldn't stop crying. And the fact she's got a very strong neck and he couldn't break it.
Well, it said he was just about to kill her in a headlock.
He said he wanted to break her neck, but he couldn't get it.
The baby suddenly cried, didn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what made him snap out of it, because he didn't, I mean, funnily enough, he didn't want to hurt children.
He didn't want to hurt the baby, and that's how she survived. But the crazy thing is, she called the police, and they believed him and not her with the whole story. He said that she was intoxicated and offered to give him sexual favors in the car. And the reason that her neck was hurting wasn't because he was squeezing it. It's because of the angle in the car was awkward. And that obviously she was drunk, and they let him go.
Yeah.
And they didn't believe her when she told them what happened, which is crazy. So she survived. And at that point, it was pretty early on. They could have saved a lot of lives had they believed her.
Yeah,
and I thought that was really, they could have stopped the serial killer right there. Again, the cops are not paying attention.
I couldn't understand that. It was really, really bad. That just the police just really sort of took his word for it and let him go.
Yeah, and then he just went on his way so that he could keep killing.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he did, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, and then he killed, and then he wrote a letter, and then he killed, and then he wrote a letter because nobody's paying attention to it.
Well, yeah, the thing that continued to throw the police off, though, was that somebody confessed to the first murder. They're still like, I don't know what's going on, but you're just not the guy.
Well, the first time he wrote the letter and said that the two people took the fall for him, the police thought it was the guy's friends writing it to get him out of jail.
Right.
So the guy, John, that was in there that got framed for it. So that's when they didn't believe it. But then he continued to write even after killing more people. He would kill again. He usually would kill one or two people. And when they weren't making the connection, he would write another letter to the newspaper to say, hey, guys, I killed again. And those people are still in there for my crimes. And they still weren't making the connection. So I thought that was pretty crazy.
Are we making the glaze?
Yeah, we can make the glaze.
Okay.
Also, there was another one of his victims that they thought was a drug overdose. And that's why he had to, again, write another letter, because they thought that victim was an overdose, and he wanted them to know that he killed her. So again, he's doing a whole lot of work to get credit for the killings, but didn't want to get caught for them.
He couldn't make up his mind whether he wanted to be caught or not, could he?
I think he wanted all the credit, but didn't want to have to do the time.
No, that's right.
He's like a middle child who's just looking for attention because they feel very forgotten and neglected. And I can speak on that because I'm a middle child. All right, what are y'all doing? What's your glaze looking like?
I'm just mixing up my glaze. If I can find me.
This glaze is probably going to look better than mine. Our vanilla is very dark, so it turned my glaze brown.
Oh gosh,
but that's okay.
Oh yeah. So was the next murder a lady called Claudia?
He did. There was a lady named Claudia, but she actually came out back as a Jane Doe. They didn't know her name until they talked to him and he confessed and said that her name was Claudia. He referred to her, if I'm not mistaken, as a street person.
Yeah.
I don't know if that meant she was
a sex worker,
or if it was just somebody he met on the street and decided she's a street person.
Right.
Yeah.
The lady, Cynthia Rose, she's the one that was labeled the overdose. And then that's why he had to send another happy face note saying, no, she's not an overdose, you dumbasses. She's actually my murder victim. And then his last victim, Julianne, was his girlfriend. And
that's right.
Yeah, he beat her to death. And the way that they connected her was that her friends and family said, this is the guy she was dating, and we think he did it. And that's kind of how the beginning of the end started for him.
He was on their radar from the beginning, but they never had any evidence to connect him with the crime.
Yeah.
But this time they did. They had a good confession.
They had a very slow radar. Their radar was a little glitchy because he was on the radar, but not enough to go get him.
Yeah.
He says he tried to commit suicide twice, but he's just not very good at things.
No. Yeah, no, he's not. But,
No.
I mean, those two, the two people that admitted to the first murder, they were still in prison, weren't they?
Yes, they were still in prison.
And it wasn't until he told them where to find Tanya's handbag under the blackberry bush.
That was the only thing they had not found yet.
Yeah, that's when the other two got released. That woman, I'll never get my head around her.
My only question is, did Laverne and John get back together when they got out of prison?
I would say definitely not.
I would think John would not really want to.
I would hope that Laverne stayed as far away from him as possible.
Yeah.
He might have been a little mad.
He might have.
Laverne's actually dead now, isn't she?
Straighten him out.
Yeah,
right?
hoping going to prison made him a nicer person.
Like, I'll never beat another woman ever.
That's got to be the ultimate, I want to get rid of you, I'm going to get you done for a murder. I couldn't get over the way that she went from doing an anonymous phone call to saying that she helped him do the murder.
I know. Well, I think that she just kept adding all these details because she didn't think they would believe in her. So she was like, fine, I helped him do it. I saw him do it. They're like, okay, now we believe you.
Okay. If you're going to insist, we'll convict you. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But the details that she was giving them was all stuff she had read in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's not like she was giving them any details that they didn't already know.
Another thing that disturbed me when I was reading about him was his game of death. That was where he strangled every girl about 4 times until they passed out, and then slapped them around the face till they came to again. Then he'd rape them. Then he'd strangle them again till they passed out. I mean, that must have been. Can you imagine how terrifying that was?
That's just tormenting. Again, that is a whole nother level of psychotic to me. This element of tormenting, almost like playing with them, like they're his toy, like a cat and a mouse. Just torture. It's just horrible. What a nightmare.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I found that bit really disturbing. That the poor woman. I think he did that in most of his cases, at least, 4. He just kept strangling them and then bringing them back so that he could do, really awful things to them. And then he really was terrible. He was huge.
Yes, he was a big man. So that to me was menacing enough.
Yeah.
And then to have this horrible, evil intent, and then he's just playing with these women like they're nothing and tormenting them. I mean, to me, it sounds like a horror movie.
And he had daughters at home.
And he had daughters at home that he loved.
Yeah.
And was very proud of his daughters. So I don't understand why he couldn't make the connection that, how would I feel if somebody did this to my daughter? There's just no empathy. But I guess that's part of the serial killer in him is there's no empathy.
Yeah.
No.
He's definitely broken. He's still broken that supposedly in prison, he still brags about the killings. He loves to talk about it and give all the details. And still, he's confessed to over 160 murders.
Yeah.
And I think he's just one of these people who's a one-upper. He one-ups everybody. If somebody's in there and they go, yeah, I killed somebody too. And he's like, yeah, well, I killed 160. So I think he's always just bragging. He's a bragger.
I think he's just a narcissist for that, don't you?
Me too. I definitely think he is a narcissist. That's the whole thing with this art. I don't think it's about the money. I think that's the narcissist in him that he wants people to admire something of his. So and, he's gross.
Oh yes. I mean, he probably could have got away with it a lot longer if he hadn't killed his girlfriend in the end.
Yeah, they said that was his downfall, was killing somebody that he knew and that knew him and that other people knew that he knew her. Yeah. It's all about who you know and don't know. So. It comes down to who you know and you don't know. When you kill somebody, don't kill somebody that knows you know somebody.
I mean, imagine how his ex-wife feels.
I know. Yeah. Can you imagine?
She's like, I dodged a bullet, or
I don't know.
Why didn't you kill me? Like, I'm not good enough.
I know.
I didn't fit your MO.
Really weird.
He didn't kill his wife. I think she was called Rose, wasn't she? He didn't kill his girlfriend that he was having an affair with because she liked rough sex. I think her name was Martha.
Oh, right. She liked the rough sex.
She liked the rough sex.
She liked rough sex, so he was quite happy with her. And, until he got bored.
Yeah.
But I think he was very clever enough to know not to kill people that he could be, tracked back to. But
I think so.
When he got to the last girlfriend, I think his urges were just too strong.
I think so. I think he just had no more control.
No.
I really don't. And I honestly think that he was so tired of writing letters and drawing them stupid ass happy faces that looked stupid, and he knew they looked stupid. And I think he thought, I'm just going to kill somebody I know.
He's like, I'm exhausted.
Yeah. He was tired.
It's tiring.
Absolutely. I mean, it must flipping heck. It would tire me out doing all that. You know, I mean,
and then having to write letters on top of that. Like you're killing and then you're having to write a letter. That's a lot. That's
all the work. You know?
He should have hired a secretary.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've got to do all that raping, I've got to do all that killing, and I've got to do all that writing letters, and I've got to drive a truck as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I'm going to try to make a
living so I can throw some money my kids' way, and at the same time, I got to put a lady under my truck and erase her face with duct tape. I mean, that's a lot. Yeah. He's exhausted.
No, I bet he was. I mean, when they caught him, they nearly let him go again, didn't they?
Yeah.
They got the people who owned his lorry company.
Yes.
To tell him to do a pickup from an old fairground or something.
Yes.
And when he got there, all these police were there. They arrested him, took him away, and they let him out again.
Yeah.
If he hadn't admitted to it a few days later, he'd have been let go again.
I don't know. The police were asleep. They were the asleep police.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he should have said in his letters, "Wake up, police! Wake up!"
I mean,
they weren't paying attention.
Honestly, I mean, when were these people? I mean, I think the very last one, which was his girlfriend's, which was his ex-girlfriend.
Yes.
I think he dumped her in the same ravine as his first one, Tonya.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think he dumped her in the same ravine.
I mean, he's doing everything but waving a flag and a neon sign saying, "It's me."
Yeah. If he was wearing a T-shirt with a big smiley face on it, I am the smiley face killer.
Maybe he should have painted that.
Let him go.
That would have been brilliant.
Or he could have painted a big, huge smiley face on the back of his truck that he drove
and
said, "Follow me to the happy face killer."
Yeah.
Then maybe they would have paid attention.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those T-shirts.
It's a smiley face.
No, he's the happy face.
Because there's a whole nother
case called the smiley face killings.
It's very confusing.
But they're unsolved.
Right.
So we should.
There's the smiley face killer and the happy face killer, isn't there?
It is very confusing. And that probably gets on his nerves.
Yeah.
Because honestly, now they're taking his idea.
Yes.
And they have not been caught yet.
Yeah, so we're not allowed to talk about them.
So our mama won't let us talk about them.
Do you know something else that confused me, which you might find a bit confusing as well? Do you know when he got arrested, right? And him and Martha had been driving the truck together. And he got arrested, so Martha had to drive the truck home. When he got arrested, he had to catch a bus. And he stopped at a restroom and he went inside and he drew this thing about the happy face killer on the inside of the toilet wall, right? And they made a big thing about that. Now, I've been in a lot of public toilets in the UK. And if I'd read that, I wouldn't have batted an eyelid because there's so much written on them blooming walls and doors of these cubicles. I'd have just thought, there's some idiot thinking he's the happy killer or something like that. I wouldn't have reported it, wouldn't have given it a thought.
I wouldn't have either. And usually there's so much graffiti. I would have been so busy reading all of it that I would just glossed right through that. And somebody would have written John 3:16 right next to it. They would have because they write all that from all.
I thought they made, in the documentaries and that, I thought they made a lot of that because the letters I could understand. If you got a letter with a smiley face on it, I could understand that. But the back of a toilet door, which is they're usually covered in graffiti.
Right. I agree. So he actually did that twice. The first time was at the Greyhound bus station, and then the second time was at a truck stop.
Right.
But both places, I mean, it's not like he went into a nice restaurant and did it or a hotel where you don't see that kind of stuff. I mean, that's my thing is that he left it where everybody else writes their crap.
Yeah.
Like for a good time call, and I'm the happy face killer.
I mean, would you have picked that out? I mean, would you have picked that out on the wall? And if you did, would you have even thought, there's some idiot who just sat here and doodled on the blooming... Anybody could do that, couldn't they?
You know what I would have done, though, probably was I would have tightened up that happy face a little bit and given it a little bit more detail, like a handlebar mustache, maybe some eyelashes and a top hat. Then talk about it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
What did he use? What did he use? A Sharpie?
I hope he had a pen with him.
Truck drivers keep a Sharpie to mark things on their reports.
Okay, and
you never know.
The bathroom with you?
I don't know what he has in his pockets, but I got a lot of stuff in my purse. I probably could come up with Sharpie.
I could write it in lipstick. That's
or lipstick or whatever.
Yeah. I never have a pen, ever.
No, you don't. That's true.
I come up to her house all the time and say, you got a pen? And we have a whole box of pens. We have a whole box of pens with our logo on it in my apartment. But I never show up with a pen.
No. Did they ever ask him? Did they ever ask him whether he actually wrote on the back of the doors?
I don't think so, but I have a feeling he volunteered it. Well, how else would they have known? Yeah. So I'm sure, because he told them everything. At one point, his attorney told him to stop talking.
So he really
kind of had diarrhea of the mouth. Once he started, he couldn't stop. Again, no control. No self-control whatsoever. I guess he probably told them, that was me that wrote that.
Yeah, catch up, people.
Well, he should have written it on the side of his truck.
Right.
Where you wouldn't expect to see it.
Somewhere. Or billboard, or maybe a billboard.
Yeah, take out a billboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like you said, wear the T-shirts.
Yeah.
We really could have done a lot of different things.
He was not creative.
No. He killed one of the women, didn't even have a name. She was just the blonde girl in the red sweater, wasn't it?
Didn't have a name.
I think she climbed into his... Is that out the freezer, yeah? I'll tell you what, these are going to be great.
You just can't wait.
Are we going in the oven now?
Well, we've got to take the scones apart, and they need to be individuals.
So I've already done that. I never thought I just took them apart and put space around the thing.
That was smart.
Perfect.
She didn't do it. So she's working on getting hers apart. But yeah, they're going to go in the oven now.
Right, I'm going to wait till we're in unison.
Oh, that's true. So your oven is preheated?
Yep.
You're awesome.
Well, I thought, I didn't want you sort of like catching me with my trousers down. You know what I mean?
I can't wait until these come out so good and you take them into work on Monday and tell all the people I did this.
They're all promised. They know what I'm doing. They're all promised for Monday.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I told them, I told everybody, I said, I'm filming with them lovely ladies on Saturday. I can't wait.
Take your finger and draw a happy face on every one of the scones in the icing.
On the drizzle. Oh, good idea. Good idea.
And then there'll be the happy face scones.
You know what? Because we don't make scones like this in this country. They're round. They're small, round things in this country.
I had no idea. Well, how come ours are... Who came up with triangles?
I don't know. Because, I was happy because I looked online. American scones are triangular. So there you go. But in this country, they're made the same, but they have raisins in. And you slice them in half and you put jam and cream in them.
Yum. That sounds wonderful.
They are nice.
That's awesome. We've never been over to the UK, but we sure hope we get over there.
You're missing... Oh, it's a treat here.
And we would love to come. It's on our bucket list.
I live in Aylesbury, which is in Buckinghamshire, which is about 40 miles from London. It's less than an hour on the train, So where are you?
I'm ready. I'm ready to put it in the oven. You ready?
I'm ready. I'll tell you, I haven't had so much excitement on a Saturday afternoon in years.
No, this has been great. We might have to do this every Saturday and just have a personal meeting. We'll just have a cooking date every Saturday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I'll tell you what, if you're going to be doing these as a regular basis, I'm going to be looking forward to listening to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it should be really interesting. Some of them we're coming up against, they really do not cook.
Yeah, we've asked, like, the next one that we have scheduled, and I won't tell you who it is yet, but I will say that he eats a lot of outdoor food by the campfire.
Does he eat a lot of meat?
He eats like hot dogs over the campfire.
Oh, I tell you, he sounds like my sort of guy.
Yeah, we'll see. And he said, "I'll try cooking anything." We're excited.
Yeah, well, you're so. We don't really. We're very lucky if we get a couple of days barbecue weather a year.
Oh,
so
gosh.
Sort of like you have to try get the barbecue out quick before it rains. But where are you?
So we live in Charleston, South Carolina.
I'm jealous of the weather because, I mean, like, we're into what we're in now, mid-May, and we just had rain and wind for the past 2 weeks, and it's just...
What are the temperatures?
Yeah, is it cold?
Yeah, it's what is it at the moment? Well, it's not cold, but it's not what the temperature should be for May. Oh, cold rain, cold mornings.
Oh, gosh. Well, now you can get up every Saturday and make scones.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the scones have been snapped up already.
Oh,
people have already told me they want them. Yeah, so I said, well, you know, I said, if they're edible, I'll bring them in on Monday.
Oh, they're going to be edible, and you got to take them in. You definitely.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we might have awakened a whole new beast in you. You might turn out to be a cook now.
Who knows?
I know.
The next time I go to Tesco, maybe I'll be buying some, you know, cake tins and baking things and that. And thinking, well, that's it.
Parchment paper. I mean, you know you're a baker. Parchment paper.
Yeah, parchment paper.
So we're going to change it. It's going to be bedtime stories and scones with Lyndon.
I've been looking for a new angle, you know, but I decided the other week that I'm never going to change bedtime with Lyndon. It's always going to stay the same. You know, where I'm going to have, you know, because I don't do the waffle because it is a bedtime story. You know, it's just so that you can listen to it uninterrupted for 15 minutes and fall off to sleep, you know. But I've always wanted to waffle with people like we are now. You know, and so I said, I'm going to bring out another one that I bring out now and again, you know, where I interview people and talk about their favourite murderer or their favourite horror story or something like that. Just interview people, you know, just ordinary people.
Yeah.
And, you know, be nice for a change because, as I say, Murder at Bedtime is very popular, and it's popular because of what it is.
Absolutely. You can't change it.
I can't change it.
No, but you could start waffling with Lyndon, and then you could cook waffles while you're waffling with the people.
Exactly. Somebody gave me a shout out the other day. I think it was something called "We're All Gonna Die" or something they were called.
Oh.
And they were laughing their heads out through the shout out because they just didn't know what waffle was. They thought they just said we like waffles. You know, we love waffles.
What is a waffle?
It's when he's like banter.
Oh, it's banter.
That's right. In the UK, if you carry on chatting too much, you're waffling on. So stop the waffle. What, you know what, guy? You know how it's very limited what I put on the beginning of my story, isn't it?
Yes.
A guy had a go at me the other day and said that's too much waffle. Another guy sent me a message saying I've never heard such a boring voice in all my life.
Oh my gosh, if people send us messages like that, we'd be torn apart.
I know. I would have to go to therapy if somebody was mean to us like that.
I laughed. I told everybody that if everybody wants to give me a really, really bad review, I'll read them out. I'll read them out in the waffle bit.
And as a matter of fact, when people email us, unfortunately for them, we consider them our best friends.
We do.
I do. I think anybody who sends me a message and wants to, I love it. In fact, I think in the end, if they've messaged me first, they think, God, I wish I hadn't messaged that bloke.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I know. I think that they probably, for us, we start stalking them because we give them a shout out. We talk about it incessantly. And I think they think, oh, God, they're stalkers.
Oh,
brilliant.
You're inviting you to Thanksgiving. You're part of the family now.
Oh, you know, if I could make it, I'd be there.
I know.
Yeah, well, if you live around the corner, you'd have to give me one of them cups and I'd be around for a cup of tea every day.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, we like to put a little bourbon in our tea.
Oh, now you're talking. Yeah.
I was going to try out my British accent today, but she is threatened to kill me if I say anything.
She was trying to be British and she sounded like she was from India. And I think you're going to offend him.
No, you would never offend me. What, are you going to do an English accent that sounds like the Queen? Or are you going to do an English accent that's like a dialect, like Geordie or Scouse? Or are you just
going to ask you for a spot of tea?
We just want to know if you want a spot of tea, Governor.
Oh, Cockney. You're going to do Cockney. That is better than Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins, which is the worst Cockney accent ever. We still laugh about that, Mary Poppins, Dick Van Dyke.
I'm sure you do. That's great. I love it.
Yeah.
So how's it smelling in your kitchen?
Oh, it smells gorgeous.
It smells good in this one, too.
You can check yours and see if they are done.
They're done all right.
Oh, they're done.
Oh, look at them. Oh, look at them. I'll put them there. They are hot. Ow. Oh. Well, I'm pleased with them.
What's happening? Are you okay?
Look at them.
Yay! They look awesome.
They're great today. Wow.
Are you so happy? These guys, people at work are going to be so happy. These might not make it to work on Monday. You might have to have them round tomorrow.
I know. They look good.
All right, so now you put your glaze on.
Right, I'm going to do it now. There it is. I did burn my finger, though.
We were wondering what happened. Anne is drawing happy faces with the glaze.
I tell you what, this is going on a treat. Oh, yeah, I've nearly finished.
Okay.
Just putting plenty on.
Of course. You don't want to waste any.
No. Oh, look at that. Oh, they look really good. Proud of those.
Everybody will be asking you to make these all the time now.
I think they will. They look absolutely delicious, and I'm very, very proud of those. They are looking great.
So I got to tell you, you're really slated in the kitchen today.
You did.
That's
right.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm so honoured to be the first Playing in the Kitchen guest. I'm over the moon.
Oh, well, we're over the moon that you actually accepted our invitation. So we thank you.
Yeah.
So your podcast is called Murder at Bedtime with Lyndon. Are you on Apple, Spotify? Are you on?
I'm on everything. I'm on everything and YouTube.
YouTube too. Okay, good. And then
have you ever watched me on YouTube?
No, but I'm going to now. I didn't know that you were on there.
You get my whole. Not only do you get the dulcet tones, you get the whole handsome face as well.
All right.
Well, I'm telling you what, now I'm going to be putting you on my TV.
Yeah, exactly. You can't, but I've got a 52-inch TV and I watch YouTube on that. I love it.
We're going to put you right on the telly, Governor.
You know what? You should start doing these YouTube.
Well, we might. We're a little camera shy, but we're getting there.
No, couple of beautiful women like you. Get out of here.
Oh, you're so sweet. Hey? Are you ready to taste your scones?
I'll tell you what. If you weren't married and you lived in England, I'd be round your house now.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Well, just know that the invitation to Thanksgiving is always open.
Thank you very much. You never know. One year I might surprise you.
I know. Right. You're right.
Yeah, we can do the same thing again live from your kitchen.
You're exactly right. We'll have a whole new show. We'll end up on the cooking channel.
Oh, I bet you will. I bet you'll have moved on to something else. You'll be even more excited.
Well, you know what we'll call it is Two Girls and a Bloke.
How about two Yank ladies and a limey? That'd be good.
All right, we're going to taste Anne's scone. Will you taste yours as well?
I will. Let's make sure they're not too hot. Oh, yeah.
Is that good?
That is good.
Delicious.
I tell you what, look at us, a partnership right across the water.
Beautiful.
All right, well, make sure you take a picture and send us a picture of your scones.
I'm going to send you a picture of my scones.
We'll do this again very soon.
Yeah, anytime.
Thank you. Well, we are so honored to have you in our kitchen, and please stay sweet and don't murder.
Because if you kill people, we will talk